Hello viewers, you are welcome to Senior Teleclass on Tek TV. My name is Francis Boatin and I'll take you through the biology lesson for senior high school. Today we are starting from year 1 and our topic for the day today will be introduction to biology. But we'll then look at biology as a science of life for today. And by the end of the lesson, I expect you to be able to define biology as a science, state the branches of biology, and state the importance of biology. I believe whilst you were in JHS, you studied integrated science, and you were introduced to biology as a branch of science. But in SHS, you are going to take biology as a subject, and for that matter, you must develop the interest and ability to be able to study the subject. So we are going to introduce you to biology by defining biology to you, what it means, knows the branches, and then the importance for today. Now, the first thing that I want you to know is this. When we say bio, what do you mean? Have you heard it before? So, basically, a lot of people say bio. Bio refers to life, living things. Therefore, biology basically will be defined as a branch of natural science which deals with the study of living organisms. I'm repeating it again. Biology is a branch of natural science which deals with the study of living organisms. The term biology is coined from 2 Greek words. Greek, I'm sure you know, is an ancient language which is spoken still now by the Greek people. And it comes from the word bios. Bios refers to life. And logos, which also refers to knowledge. So these 2 words were coined together to form biology. Therefore, you can easily say that biology is the study of life. You are acquiring knowledge for life, or acquiring knowledge in living things. Now, we will move on and look at, now that you know that living things, when you study living things, you are referring to what we normally term as things that can perform certain characteristics, which we all know, as you were taught at JHS, we call these characteristics as life processes. Therefore, when you are able to perform some of these life processes, then we say you are a living thing. So biology basically deals with how to study these living things. We said that a living thing, if you remember, the living thing undergo nutrition, that is they feed, and then they use these nutritions. When they use it, they respire to get energy. And when they respire, they get energy through respiration, and these energies help them to be able to perform several other life processes, where they are able to move. So we say that living things move. Then they are also able, then the food that they eat also, they also use it to grow. They then produce a lot of waste. They therefore must excrete that waste. So we say they undergo excretion. We also say that these living things, they are able to respond to the changes within their environment, within internally and external environment, which we call stimulus. So when they are able to respond to these changes, we say that living things are sensitive, or we say irritability or sensitivity. We also say that these are some of the characteristics that a living thing must possess for you to be classified as a living thing. So this, when you study these organisms, we say that you are doing biology. It's a branch of science. Now, but this biology has been traditionally divided into two main areas. I'm sure you know from your times in the childhood when you were growing and we asked you what living things, the things you know, generally we say that they are plants and animals. But that's not just all. There are a lot of things that talks about. There are several other types of living things. But generally, traditionally, we have divided two main branches of biology. We say zoology, which is the study of animals, and botany, which is the study of plants. Now, but these main branches also have several branches of biology. So when you continue to study biology, you find that there are several branches of biology. There are a lot of them. But I'll give you some few ones, and we'll look at their definitions. And later on, you can find the rest also. There are lots of them. So we say that we have one of the branches of biology is bioinformatics. We also have biotechnology. We have ecology. We have embryology. We have entomology. We have oceanography. Then we also have environmental biology. We can also have epidemiology. We have evolutionary biology. We look at genetics. We have histology. Then we have microbiology, neurobiology, which some call it neurology. We have ornithology. We have paleontology, pathology, mycology, parasitology, and then virology. We also have taxonomy. Now, there are several branches. There are several branches of biology which you can. So let's try and see if we can explain some of these terms to you. Now, if you take anatomy, when we say somebody is studying anatomy, what does it mean? It's the study of form and function in plants, animals, and other organisms, or specifically humans. So if you study the forms and functions in plants and animals, we are saying that you are studying anatomy. So you look at the shape, how it is formed, how the body parts function, and all those things. When you go detail and that is your area of study, then we say you are studying anatomy. Now, so basically, you can find that this anatomy will come under something like if you are studying it under animals, it could come under zoology, it can also come under botany, which is under plants. So generally, some of these things come under the main branches. Then you can also, let's also look at bioinformatics. Now we are in the technology age, so a lot of people are using technology. So if you try to use technology to be able to explain some biological things and collect data and do other things, then you are doing bioinformatics. So bioinformatics, the definition is the use of information technology for the study, collection, and storage of genomic and other biological data. So this one, you develop several softwares and other things, technology to be able to store, let's say, gene sequences of organisms that you have. So you several technological things that you used in collection, storage of data. I mean, let's say the genetic makeup sequences of a DNA of an organism, we can store them in technology. Let's say this viral thing that has come, we said that you have sequenced them, and then you use a technology to be able to trace it, and all so many things. So when you use information technology generally to help you in biological things, you are doing bioinformatics. Then we go to biotechnology. Now, so look at it, biotechnology. In this case, this mostly industrial and commercial use. We use it to be able to help you to be able to manufacture things which is biology related. The definition for biotechnology: it is the industrial and commercial application of biological, that is particularly of microorganisms and enzymology and genetic engineering to produce industrial products or to achieve a particular purpose. What does it basically mean? Now, in industry, we use microorganisms that can help you, let's say fungus, bacteria, and other things, useful bacteria, that helps you to be able to ferment food, milk, and other things to produce yogurt, to produce cheese, and so many things. You can also use enzymes and genetic engineering processes. It helps you to produce so many things for the industry and for commercial purposes. When you go into these things and you are therefore concentrated in producing industrial products or to achieve a particular purpose, in the sense that I want to manufacture this, so you use technology to be able to use biological processes like microorganisms, enzymes, and you study it in detail and use it to be able to manufacture so many things. That is for benefit to mankind. When you do that, we say you are doing biotechnology. Now, let's go to the next one, ecology. I'm sure you have heard the word eco before. Eco basically refers to environment. So when you want to study ecology, it is the study of the interactions of living organisms with one another and with the non-living elements of their environment. I'm repeating it. It is the study of the interaction of living organisms with one another and with the non-living elements of the environment. What it means is that all living things interact among ourselves. We human beings, we are living things. We pluck fruits that are also living things. Plants, we feed, we take them and eat. We eat yam every day. Is that not so? Then we also kill animals for our food. Mosquitoes also bite us. They also take our blood for food. We say sheep also feed on grasses. Lizards also feed on insects. Bees and insects pollinate flowers. They are all interaction among living things. So when living things interact among themselves, and at the same time we also interact with our environment. I'm sure everybody knows what human beings, our interactions with the environment has been for now. We are degrading our environment. The certifications, we are polluting it. So when we do that, we are generally saying that we are interacting with our environment. So the environment is also made up of non-living things, the air, the soil, the water bodies, and all those things. So when you study the interaction of living organisms among themselves and how they also interact with the non-living elements of the environment, we say that you are studying ecology. And I'm sure you are going to do that in the topic later on. Now, the next one that I would like to talk about is embryology. Embryology, look at the word, it comes embryo. So the study of the development of an embryo is embryology. The study of the development of an embryo is an embryology. An embryo is formed when a fusion of a male and female gamete forms. When you mate, the sperms and the eggs fuse and they form a zygote to later on develop to form an embryo. How this embryo will develop, grow up to become a human being, to become a goat, to become a rabbit, a parrot, or a hawk, or a horse, the processes of this development of this embryo in that, or in organisms. This is what we call embryology. It is so interesting that you see that at certain stages, as early stages, we all look the same. And when we develop, and as we are going, then we change to the new forms that we have. So when you decide to develop interest in that area and you study it, you'll be doing embryology. The next one that we'll look at will be entomology. Entomology. Entomology is the study of insects. You can see that insects comes under zoology, you see. So the animals. So it's also a branch that deals with the study of insects. Insects are found everywhere. They have colonized almost all the habitats of the world. There are so many insects around. And a lot of people have dedicated their time and energy to study these insects and how they help within the environment, how they help in, some help in decomposition of organic matter, some help how to pollinate flowers, and how they actually interact within the environment. So you study insects, look at their structure, look at their living habit. I mean, some of them can even teach you a lot of things. Even in the Bible, they say that, I mean, you must go and visit the ants and see how it lives. There's a caste system, how they live, how they have separated themselves into several rows where each one is adapted to specific roles. When you study all these things, you are basically saying that you are studying entomology. It is a very interesting area that you can also decide to study. Then we go to environmental biology. Now, this is also a general word where we say that environmental biology is the study of the natural world as a whole or in a particular area, especially as affected by human activity. So we have a lot of people who have decided that they will do environmental biology and look at how our human activity is affecting the environment within certain areas. Now that there's a lot of galamsey around, environmental biologists can go there and look at how these activities affect the aquatic environment within our water bodies, and then the other biotic, or I should say living things that are found there. How is it affecting it? So you look at the environment when you are studying it and you decide to see how we are, our life, I'm sure you know it. Now that there's lockdown around, a lot of people are saying that, there's less pollution because there's less airplanes that are flying and therefore polluting the environment. So we have environmentalists who are also campaigning. So these are the people who actually concentrate in studying our natural world. So they study a particular area and see how these things will affect our life and our activities affected. So environmental biology is also a very interesting area you can look at. Then we have epidemiology. Epidemiology. Now, epidemiology is a major component of public health that deals with the study of a spread and control of infectious diseases within the population. Now, I'm sure you know now there's something called coronavirus around. How did you know how does it spread? How does it move from one person to another? So, when you decide to concentrate your studies on public health, that deals with the study of spread and control infectious diseases, how cholera is spread, how TB. So an epidemiology will be dealing with the modes of transmission of these diseases. Therefore, they will then study how it spread, how it goes into bodies, and then you also teach you how to protect yourself so that the population, will be safe generally. So this is a major component of biology that deals with the study of the spread and control infectious disease. That is epidemiology. It's also a very, very interesting area that you can also concentrate on. Then we look at the evolutionary biology. You've heard it before. If you remember, our pastors and imams says, as with our religion, as we've been taught, we say that life was created. But in science, because we can't prove creation, we have what we call evolution as a basis. So if you study evolutionary biology, You are doing the study of the origin and the descent of species over time. So, in this case, the study of the origin and the descent of species over time. So, for a very long period of time, biologists will tell you that life changed from simple forms into complex forms over a very long period of time. So, a certain species of organism for a very chronological time, yes, you will see that the organism will change into a different form. So from simple species to complex species over a very long period of time. You will study that also in evolutionary biology. Then we look at genetics. I'm sure a lot of people have heard genetics before. When you study genetics, it's a study of genes and heredity. So genetics is basically the study of genes and heredity and variation. So, heredity is the transfer of characters, features from parents to their offsprings. And then we look at variations or differences among organisms of the same species. So this is genetics. You can also study genetics. Then we have ichthyology, which refers to the study of fish. Some people concentrate so much in the study of fish, and you can study them in both freshwater fishes and in the ocean fishes. So you look at these things, and then some can also be found in estuaries, that is brackish waters, that exist between freshwater and then marine waters. When you concentrate so much in the study of fish, you are doing ichthyology. Now, we also go to limnology. Limnology is the study of inland waters or fresh waters. Some scientists also concentrate so much on the study of inland waters, or what we normally call fresh waters, like our rivers, our lakes, our ponds, and our streams. When you study and concentrate on the aquatic organisms within these things and how they live and interact, you are doing limnology. Then we can also look at oceanography, which is the study of oceans or marine waters. Some also concentrate a lot in the aquatic life in the ocean or the marine waters, which is salty. The fresh waters contains very low amounts, so we say it is fresh. It doesn't contain salt or very low concentration of salt. So when you study the aquatic organisms, both plants and animals and all the other microorganisms within the oceans, you're also doing oceanography. I'm sure you have seen scientists on your TVs, documentaries, diving deep into the sea to see how life occurs. When you do these things, you are doing oceanography. Then we look at microbiology. Microbiology, it is the study of microscopic organisms, or which we normally refer to as microorganisms, and the interactions with other living things. These microscopic organisms, I'm sure you know them. When we say they are microscopic organisms, it means that you cannot see them with the naked eye unless you look under a microscope. Those are what we call so we have the viruses, the bacteria, and some protozoans and some few organisms, which we call the microscopic organisms. And some. These organisms, when you study them in detail and how they interact with the other living things, I mean, some are parasites, some they create a lot of diseases and so many also, and so forth. When you study them, you're doing microbiology. Now, we go to mycology. Mycology is the study of fungi, basically. We looked at, you learned that we don't have, when you were in JHS, we said that, there are only two types of living things. They say plants and animals. But you know that we have plants, animals, we have fungi, we have protozoa, and we also have prokaryotes, which are the bacteria. So when you decide to study fungi, which is a type of a living thing, which I'm sure you're eating mushrooms, and then you see yeast, yeast which is put in bread that we use, which ferment for you to eat. And when you put your kinky or bread there, you see rhizopods growing on them. When you study these things, you are doing mycology, because these organisms are fungi. Then we have neurobiology. Neurobiology is the study of the nervous system, including the anatomy, physiology, and the pathology. When we say nervous system, the nervous system refers to your brain and your spinal cord. So when you concentrate yourself in studying your brain parts and the spinal cord, how they function and works and coordinates and controls the activities of your body, by studying its anatomy, its physiology and pathology, you are doing neurobiology. This is also a branch of biology. So what's therefore, we heard that we said physiology. What is physiology? Physiology is a study of the working function of an organism. So the physiology of that thing means the work, how it functions, how it works to complete the whole organism. So the physiology of the organism is a study of the working function of that particular organism. Or you say the physiology of the nervous system, how does it work and function as a whole to help? So that's physiology. Then we have ornithology. Ornithology is an interesting, it is a study of birds. I mean, you have lovers of birds. A lot of people, scientists, biology have concentrated to study a lot of birds. There are migratory birds, solitary birds, and birds that migrate long distances. When you concentrate to study on these birds, and very well, you are doing ornithology. Then paleontology is a study of fossils and sometimes geographic evidence of prehistoric life. So you see that stones and there are rocks, when you break them, you see fossil records. I mean, skeletons of dead animals that have been buried for several years. When you do that, you are doing paleontology, the study of fossils. That is what we say. So geographic evidence of prehistoric life. So some people don't even believe that's about 10,000 years ago, 10 million years ago, there were other organisms on this earth. These fossil records serve as evidence to show that there were life within all those times. When you continue to study that, you are doing paleontology. Then we have pathology. I've heard pathologists. The study of diseases and the causes, processes, and nature and development of these diseases. It's a study of diseases and the causes, processes, nature, and development of these diseases. That is pathology. Then we have virology. Virology is a study of virus. I mean, that virus is now a very common name around. So when you study viruses and concentrate detail in their mechanism, their structure, and their infection, how they live, viruses are considered as non-living things when they are outside, but when they enter a living thing, they become a living. So they are not generally considered as living things per se. When we are classifying living things, we don't add them to them. But when you continue, you concentrate to study that, you are doing basically what we call virology. Then taxonomy is a science that deals with the study of identifying, grouping, naming, and naming organisms according to the established natural relationship. It's a science which deals with the study of identifying, grouping, and naming organisms according to their established natural relationship, or say the general characteristics that the organism has. We group certain organisms together. Animals are there, plants are there, fungus are there. Within animals, we have mammals, we have birds. So when you decide to study these things, you are doing taxonomy, which normally we normally say classifications. That is. So the next thing that we want to look at is the importance of biology. Now, biology basically has a lot of benefits because biology improves life. Since it involves studying of life, it helps us in these areas. It helps us to manage our environment, cure and prevent. I'm sure you have said that we have environmentalists. When the knowledge comes, it helps you to be able to manage your environment so that we have to protect our environment very well. It helps us to cure and prevent diseases. It also provides better crops yield, increase yield, and also helps to improve animal production. It helps us to be able to manage our resources. It helps in biofuel production. I'm sure you have heard that where the organic matter, it helps to decompose, and then you have biogas. I've heard so we call it biofuel. Biology can also help us to identify and prosecute criminals through fingerprints and DNA testing. So when we test the DNA, we can be able to prosecute criminals. It provides employment opportunities because when you study biology, you can get a lot of jobs to do. But what are some of these careers or jobs? You can be a veterinary doctor. You can be an agriculturist. You can be an ecologist. You can be a geneticist. You can be an ornithologist, an entomologist, biotechnologist, a pathologist, a virologist, a pharmacist, a microbiologist, general medicine, and you become a doctor. You can be a nurse, laboratory technician, a nutritionist, a research scientist, an environmental scientist, and you can also be a teacher. So that is basically the topic for today. Now, we have defined biology, a branch of science that deals with the study of living things. We have looked at the branches, and we have also looked at the careers that we can get from biology. Go and concentrate and read on other branches of biology. There are a lot of them. I can't bring them all here for you. And there are several careers too that you can do. So develop the interest and read around it. See you and stay safe. Bye-bye.